Hey, this is Second Soundwave, and today I'm reviewing the brand new Build Fighters release, Wing Gundam Zero Honoo. This is the newest high-grade kit in the Build Fighters toy line. It's from a manga called Gundam Build Fighters Try Honoo. And this is a kit that I pre-ordered pretty much the moment that it went up. And mind you, I never pre-order stuff really ever because there's usually not really a shortage of the kits to the point where you need to like quickly get an order in. But when I saw the picture of this kit at whatever the Tokyo Hobby Festival or whatever it is where they showed it off, I knew I had to have one because it is just awesome. Now when in-hand pictures started showing up and I saw like unpainted pictures as opposed to the hand-painted prototypes, I was a little wary and I thought, it might not be as cool as it first looked. But having it in hand and having built it, I can say with complete confidence that this is an awesome kit. With the backpack tilted back a bit, let's take a look at the torso, shoulders, and head of this kit. They're very detailed. They're just a few pieces, but they do have these awesome translucent effect parts in them. Makes it look like it's on fire. Not quite as flamboyant as the Try Burning, but not as subtle as the Build Burning, so a nice sort of balance. A lot of green. All those little green parts are stickers, except for that piece, which is translucent green with a silver sticker behind it. There's just some great stuff here. Obviously, the Gatling guns don't pop up out of the shoulders like on the original Zero, but that's to be expected. It's a high grade. Now, the waist in this kit surprised me because, judging by the initial pictures, I was expecting those red parts to be stickers, but they're actually pieces. There's some really cool side skirt armor. It's very long and pointy. Rear skirt armor has some nice sort of layering to the armor. Great detail on the legs. I didn't like the Wing Zero. The original Wing Zero is just blank white lower body, but the orange on the knees helps break that up. And the feet are a totally new mold, which is awesome because on the old Wing Zero, you had open feet and you had transformed feet. On this, it's just a smooth transition from one to the other. But this kit's most striking feature is its massive wingspan with a pair of huge flaming swords attached to the back along with a pair of matching wings. One thing to note with this kit is that there is almost nothing reused from the Wing Gundam Zero. The only sprue reused from that kit is the inner frame sprue. So basically, those gray parts, with the exception of like the sword handles and a couple other parts, are pretty much all from the Wing Zero. Everything else is brand new molding. So this is practically a new kit, even though it's heavily inspired by an older one. Unfortunately, articulation is where this figure starts to take a few negatives. The head's got good movement. It can tilt around, turn, and do anything you want it to. The backpack has good movement. It can swing back and forward. These can tilt down quite far. They can't tilt up quite as much as I'd like, but they do rotate. You can swing these outwards, and that frees them up to move along this joint. And that looks like just about it. However, you can do some pretty interesting stuff there. The shoulders can rotate all the way around, although they do the same thing the Wing Gundam does, where they look kind of weird and disjointed when they're all the way down. The shoulder pads themselves can tip up fairly well. They tip down pretty far for transformation. The flap here swings up enough to get good range of movement out of the shoulder. And the arms have pretty good elbow bend. Wrists are the usual ball jointed affair. So, we got actually a quite good range of torso. So, why did I say the articulation wasn't that good? Well, it's because of the legs. Now, while the side skirts can do a great job of getting out of the way, they rotate side to side as well as swinging up slightly, and the front skirts do go out of the way. They are connected, but you can very easily separate them. I chose not to for the sake of this video. The hips come up good and out to the side good. It's the All Gundam Project body design, and they swivel. However, the knees really don't go as far as I'd like. They only really go barely 90 degrees, which is not that great on a modern day kit. The ankles have an okay range of movement. Good forward, good back, a little bit of side to side, and rotation. And of course they transform too. So that is a bit of a shame. It's mostly those knees that result in it, but the ankles aren't too great either. But when you're posing this kit, the legs are really the only limiting factor. The arms, like I showed, have a good range of movement. The wings do an okay job of getting out of the way. The first of the Wing Zero Honoo's accessories are the rifles that came with the original Wing Gundam Zero. Now, these do have a rather unattractive sticker running along them. It's fairly large and tough to get aligned right, and the only real change here is the translucent orange along the top. And just like on the Wing Zero, you can pop them together and fold a handle in, and you now have a single double-barreled beam rifle. The next accessory of the Wing Gundam Honoo is this rather cool looking shield. It's very streamlined, very sleek, and while doesn't actually have any flaming elements to it, it does look quite along. It looks like it definitely fits along the rest of the aesthetic of the kit. Underneath the cockpit there is a beam saber handle, and included are a pair of green beam sabers, just like on the Wing Gundam. And also like on the Wing Gundam, there's one handle and two sabers, so you have an extra saber left over to throw in your parts box. Always a nice bonus when they do that. The most intimidating weapons of the Honoo, however, are stored on the kit itself. If you rotate out these outer wings and then detach them, and unfortunately these aren't polycaps, so I am concerned for the longevity of this joint, but you just pop out these two pieces, and they just pop right into the hands, although you do have to remove the back of the hand to fit them in. Now, unfortunately, holding these weapons can be a bit of a challenge, as I did have the wrist droop on me a couple times while getting into this pose. However, if you just be careful with it and sort of rest things on other things, you can actually get it into some pretty good poses. I am worried about the longevity of the hand connectors, though, as on several other kits I've had that required removing the back of the hand to attach a weapon, that back of the hand connector tends to get pretty worn out pretty quick, and as is very evident with my high-grade Astray, it can get to the point where it pretty much doesn't hold on at all. The Wing Zero Honoo does look great in flight poses, with the head having a wide range of articulation, allowing it to look pretty far up and allow you to make it look like it's flying towards the camera with its swords out. The Honoo's shield matches up quite nicely with the swords, although you cannot dual wield them while it's holding the shield without things getting impractical due to the fact that the shield's large cumbersome design makes it rather difficult to pose with. There's only a few positions you can get it into without it bumping into other stuff. The green beam saber is a pretty cool color, but it really doesn't make sense on such a fire-themed suit. I would have preferred a yellow, orange, or red beam as opposed to the one included. Still, green beam sabers aren't seen that often, so it's cool that they threw them in anyway. And naturally, being a version of the Wing Zero, you just can't have a review without showing off the classic Wing Zero twin rifle pose. I remember seeing pretty much every version of the Wing Zero in this pose before I saw the show, and I was wondering why everyone put it in that pose, and then I realized that the Wing Zero did this literally like every other episode, and then it kind of made sense. But the Wing Honoo can pull it off, looks pretty cool. Double beam rifles, they're always neat. Unfortunately, while it may look like I got to double hand the twin rifle, you actually can't because of how thick the knuckles are. They just can't come close enough. I kind of just have the other hand sort of resting there. However, he can single hand the double rifle perfectly fine. Also, may not be immediately obvious at this particular angle. Let me see if I can adjust a bit, but the wings look awesome when they're fully spread out. Overall, the Wing Gundam Honoo is an absolutely awesome mobile suit. But we've only looked at half of what this kit has to offer, because it is actually a transforming mobile suit. Start off, you want to remove any extraneous weapons from the kit. Then you swing out both halves of the wing binder and take the whole section, rotate it back. Do the same on the other side. Swing them out, rotate it back, and then rotate them so that the bottom two are roughly even. Take this flap, lift it up, swing the shoulder down. Same on the other side. Rotate the head 180 degrees and tip it back. Bend the knees forward as far as they'll go, and then slot them up into the back of the hip skirt armor. They don't necessarily tab in, it's just a good way to make sure you have them both lined up. Then swing the feet all the way down and back, and that one does like to lock up, but they will eventually line up properly. Now just take the shield and take these two pegs and attach them to those two grooves. Just like so. If you wish to hide the arms of the kit further, attach the bazookas, I'm sorry, not bazookas, the beam rifles to the underside of the hands. This will hide both the arms and the hands from the underside of the mobile suit. Also, you can rotate the clip for the shield forwards, and that helps make it look a little more streamlined. From there, it's just a matter of getting everything lined up the way you want it. And let me say that this is one of the coolest flight modes I've seen. The only glaring flaw is that there's no place to peg a stand. I'm using a special type of stand that has a forward-facing peg that I'm attaching to the waist peg. But unlike the Wing Gundam, where there was a piece you'd remove from the skirt armor to attach a action base, there appears to be no such piece on this kit, which is a shame because it means you really can't display it that well with a stand unless you have a special funnel stand like this one, which came from the Full Armor Unicorn Gundam. Now, you can use the guns as a pair of sort of rudimentary landing gear, so you can just display it on the ground, but this is really a kit in a mode that needs to be displayed in the air. Overall, while there are a few minor issues, the Wing Gundam Honoo is an absolutely fantastic kit. It beats out the Wing Gundam by a bit, and surprisingly, it's pretty much a new mold. I mean, there's a sprue used from the Wing Zero, but for the most part, this is all new stuff. It would have been nice if there was a stand connector for the flight mode, and I do think the wings and knees could use a bit more articulation, but other than that, it is a fantastic kit. I'm not even sure I'm going to do any detailing to this anymore. I mean, I'd like to do a little bit here and there, but nothing nearly as extensive as I originally planned. Overall, I could definitely recommend this kit. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. I'm Second Soundwave. This wraps up my look at the Wing Gundam Honoo. See you next time.